How much Conte had to suffer? Well then, it was somewhat fitting that the night before his one-year anniversary as head coach of Tottenham Hotspur, Antonio Conte would have to suffer exactly what it means to be a Spurs fan. Up in the stands of the Orange Velodrome, unable to influence matters on the pitch with his voice and instructions, the suspended Italian could only suffer the full range of emotions that the Tottenham fans were going through further along in the same stand. And back at home, he watched a familiar first half littered with mistakes and nerves from a group of players boasting huge experience of the competition, and having played in some of the biggest games in club and international football. Conte was sat alongside Spurs performance director Gretar Steinsson, and he went through the whole frantic gamut of emotions, as he would on the sideline, but without the ability to convey his thoughts to his players. Instead, Costantino Corrati was on hand, on the other side of Steinsson, to frantically take notes from what Conte was shouting to pass on to the other coaches. Thankfully for the suspended Spurs boss, he had men he could trust to fill the void he left in the changing room at half-time. Conte has known his assistant coach Cristian Stellini for more than a decade, and in Ryan Mason, he has a young coach who has impressed him since the first day he stepped into the club. While no player would admit after the game exactly what was said in that dressing room, goalscorer Clement Lenglet would only say that important words were uttered, and Harry Kane admitted that Stellini, Mason, and captain Hugo Lloris all had their say in changing the mentality of the team around in those 15 minutes. Stellini admitted afterwards that he channeled his inner Conte as he was walking down the tunnel after the half-time whistle. I was coming into the dressing room and I was thinking how Antonio would speak now, and I did it, with all of my energy and my thoughts, and we are here now to celebrate, he said after the game. Also thanks to Antonio, because I learned lessons, a lot of lessons from him, and this evening I used them. Kane added, there were a few words said by a few people at half-time, that we had to be more aggressive, have more intensity, and I think we came out in the second half and did that. Those words certainly did the trick, and in the second half Conte watched those same previously underperforming and experienced stars remember who they were. The atmosphere inside the stadium was hostile. The north stand was closed, but 54,000 fans packed into the other three stands, and they ensured that from the first moment Lloris stepped onto the pitch for his warm-up, the World Cup winner admitted afterwards that he felt alone, that every Spurs player was going to feel utterly uncomfortable inside their home. Yet this Spurs team that has felt its share of criticism this season showed fight. They exhibited mental resilience inside an intimidating atmosphere, something they have struggled with in the last few seasons. And they ended their long run without a win away in Europe, despite losing Son Heung-min to a painful-looking facial injury after half an hour. They did ride their luck in one moment late on, with former Arsenal defender Sead Kolasinac heading wide a huge chance for Marseille, and Ivan Perisic blocked a point-blank effort from another ex-gunner Alexis Sanchez superbly. However, on the whole Spurs managed the second half well, and Lloris did not touch the ball much at all after his two first-half saves from Sanchez and Jordan Veretout. It was the visitors who threatened more, leveling with Lenglet's header from Perisic's deep free kick, another goal for the growing collection of set-piece coach Gianni Vio, Spurs' best signing of the summer, and for the French defender to open his Tottenham account in front of his family up in the stands. Kane had various dangerous moments in front of goal when the ball would just not fall kindly to him, while Pierre-Emile Højbjerg crashed a shot against the crossbar. Marseille pushed in the final moments for the winner. They needed to progress from a group that on the night had seen all four teams in qualifying spots at various points as the scorelines changed constantly across the two games. The French side could not find a way through, and instead Spurs found an outball to Kane, who held the ball up magnificently during the second half, and this time he saw the Energizer bunny that is Højbjerg sprinting up the pitch. The striker played him through, and the Dane ran on and smashed an inch-perfect shot in off the left-hand post to send the Spurs players, staff, fans, and Conte into delirium. The Italian went crazy in the director's box, hugging everyone around him and punching the air, almost pulling Steinsson's head off with a bear hug. It would have been a very new experience for chairman Daniel Levy to have such a live wire so connected with the team, and steeped in football knowledge, raging and screaming behind him. One of the other Spurs directors, Rebecca Capelhorn, sat directly in front of Conte and could be seen looking skywards and breathing a big sigh of relief amid the celebrations. That's exactly what the night brought. Relief and a little bit of pride to be taken from the way the team completed its second remarkable comeback within a handful of days, and this time on the biggest stage. Having Conte experience it all like a fan was not a bad thing at all, and neither was having Levi sat near him for the months to come. And you, Spurs fan, do you think Conte can rest easy with the help of his coaching staff? Comment, because it is very important to know your opinion.